welcome you to sunny Southern California and Scotiabank Concacaf Champions League from Banc of California Stadium. It's NYCFC playing host to Santos de Guápiles of Costa Rica. Mike Watts, pleased to welcome you. It's actually currently warmer in New York City than it is in Los Angeles, California. The fans that made the trip, though, still in sweatshirt weather, and you can see the MLS Cup champion sweatshirt as well. NYCFC playing in California ahead of their game against LA Galaxy on the weekend. More on that as we go along. A look at the CONCACAF Champions League bracket, and for NYCFC, peek at the bottom left corner. Could there be an upset in the making? Comunicaciones grabbing the 1-0 win, an 89th minute rocket in the first leg in Guatemala City. Colorado Rapids will play in much more difficult, frigid conditions in leg number 2 later on tonight. Let's take a look at the highlights from the opening leg between Santos and NYCFC. This game played at the National Stadium in Costa Rica. NYCFC's first competitive match since they won the MLS Cup. And Santos de Guápiles struggling in the league. They concede a penalty very early on, inside 5 minutes. And make no mistake, NYCFC's Tati Castellanos picking up right where he left off. The Golden Boot winner a year ago in Major League Soccer, off and jogging with the opening goal of NYCFC's 2022 campaign. NYCFC would double their money 30th minute. Castellanos into the upper right corner. 1-0 to NYCFC quickly became the 2 road goals that NYCFC would take with them back to the United States as they enter the second leg here tonight. Let's discuss where these teams are at right now. For NYCFC, they haven't begun the domestic campaign. That'll begin in Carson, California on the weekend on Sunday. For the fans that did, in fact, make the trip here to LA, they get a chance to see Champions League competition once again. It's frustrating, certainly. There's been an openness between the club and the fans, a lack of a home venue that CONCACAF allows to be a home for international competition. Ultimately makes it very difficult to host games in the early stages of the season, most notably because Red Bull Arena in New Jersey currently under construction. You never know what the weather conditions are going to be in February, whether or not it made the most sense to go up to Connecticut and play in Hartford. So they make the trip out to Los Angeles, cut down on the travel, give their fans a chance to make a mini week out of their opening road trip of the season, and ultimately we'll look forward to the quarterfinals to try and move a little bit closer to home. It's an NYCFC team that actually had the lowest points per game in the regular season for their club since their inaugural season in 2015. But it doesn't matter how you start, it's how you finish. They qualify for the postseason, have a harrowing run through the MLS Cup playoffs, and ultimately win the Cup on Portland's soil. Conversely, for Santos de Guápiles, this is a group where it really couldn't be going any worse right now for Eric Shock Rodriguez's group than it currently is. They sit bottom of the table in Costa Rica. Their problem, their offense, not their defense, which is only conceded 7 times in 5 games. But maybe a bigger problem lies off the field, where they haven't been able to get their 3 foreign-born players into games on their home soil. Visa issues have been the primary point of contention around the Santos de Guápiles team, a group that did well enough in CONCACAF League to qualify for the final position in Champions League this year, but one that was ultimately relying on the benefit of those foreign-born players to make it go. The good news is they will welcome 2 of them back here tonight. The center back from Mexico, Everardo Rubio, is in the 11, will start. Javon East, who a year ago this time was in the middle of a Golden Boot-worthy short season in Costa Rica, the Jamaican, will be in the 11 here today. The bad news, still no Luis Paradella, the 25-year-old Cuban, who is both unable to play due to visa issues in Costa Rica, but also here in the United States, despite the fact he actually played 1 season not too far up the road from LA in Reno, Nevada, with the hybrid affiliate of the San Jose Earthquakes, Reno 1868 FC, in the American Second Division. So can Santos de Guápiles play a more attack-minded game? It was not their night, the National Stadium in Costa Rica. They think the reinforcements will help, but against the might of NYCFC, one of the favorites in this competition, still may not be enough. And then there's that pesky fact of 2 road goals that NYCFC has already accumulated. This massive and gorgeous venue, which opened for LAFC's inaugural season, will welcome about 1,000 fans here tonight. It's the Blues of New York City and the red-topped kits of Santos de Guápiles, a club with no trophies and a club that just months ago was able to acquire their first here in Concacaf Champions League. The second leg of the round of 16 commences in moments. We'll meet the officials, see the most recent team news for both sides, multiple changes. The Concacaf Champions League anthem to play here in Los Angeles. Kickoff soon to follow. NYCFC looking to punch their ticket into the quarterfinal. 2 goals up after their first road trip of the year to Costa Rica. Ronnie Dyla sending out this 11. There are 2 changes. Santiago Rodriguez was obvious. He was sent off in the first leg in the 68th minute. Gideon Zalalem, who played so well in the first leg, will take a seat. Alfredo Morales returns after a positive COVID test. And Thiago Andrade enters the 11 as well for both their debut in 2022. 2 officials from Mexico, 1 from Panama on the field. Fernando Guerrero will oversee the match, which will have the benefit of VAR here tonight. Now look at the starting 11 for Shaq Rodriguez and Santos de Guápiles. They've made 4 changes, although all 4 of the starters dropped to the bench are in fact available. Barquero, Bennett, Lopez, and Castro sit. East and Rubio, the foreign-born players, able to play with a active visa in the U.S. Salas and Solorzano move into the 11 as well. A look inside the VAR room. There's Fernando Hernandez of Mexico, assisted by Oscar Macias. The workday is over in New York City, but it is not, in fact, 5 o'clock here. Work still to be done for NYCFC on the west coast of the U.S. Long, long distance from home in Los Angeles. Shaq Rodriguez prepares for what could be for Santos their crystallizing greatest moment. Not if Ronnie Dyla has anything to say about it. He's talked about the compactness necessary to see this out with a professional approach. I also believe the attack of Santos, the willingness to expose themselves a bit, should give NYCFC the chance to break out, perhaps grab a few goals of their own. And now we wait for the opening signal and the opening whistle from Fernando Guerrero of Mexico. NYCFC's second appearance in Champions League. Santos de Guápiles, one of 3 debutants in the 2022 edition of CONCACAF's greatest club competition. It begins in Los Angeles, Banc of California Stadium. NYCFC taking on Santos de Guápiles of Costa Rica. Amundsen plays back. Collins, who ended the MLS Cup on a winning note. Penalty shootout against Portland after that late equalizing goal. NYCFC have to be considered given the players they've kept, most notably Tati Castellanos, who does in fact start today ahead of the game on Sunday against the Galaxy, to be among the favorites, if not the favorite, to repeat for the first time in MLS since the Galaxy themselves did it in 2011 and 2012. Amundsen. Effort from Magno. Amundsen steps in. East.
Ya, comience, comience.
Pablo Arboin back and Ruiz. Santos just 3 goals in 6 games this calendar year, all competitions. It'll need to start with 1 tonight, whereas sometimes you hear coaches discuss the need for perfection when trailing entering the second leg, like Santos is. That wasn't the approach that the Costa Rican manager, Eric Rodriguez, took. It's a group that feels fortified at the minimum. Gray pushes ahead. Castellanos is available, and he rolls it wide. A man on a mission, Tati Castellanos. Doesn't take long to hear about the rumors and the excitement, the price tags. For those who enjoy the transfer speculation, Tati Castellanos is your man. Still happily at NYCFC, coming off a career year. Morales. Morales crossing early, came short of Magno. Madrigal himself said that the series remains open entering this second leg. Felt the team lacked calm playing in the first back in Costa Rica. Rodriguez. Recovered by NYCFC through Acevedo. Just over 3 minutes in. Magno. Morales, termed the little genius by the tremendous voice of NYCFC, Ian Joy. Mendez rolls ahead. What can East provide? Rodriguez sliding in, just a bit off the mark. And New York City the other way through Morales. Maxi Morales threads through Magno. Magno! Would have been a delightful start for NYCFC. Head on a swivel and threads the perfect ball in. There's real potential for this to be a terrifying NYCFC on the offensive end for opposition this year. The 19-year-old Brazilian Magno could be the piece that makes this a historic attack for NYCFC year over year. Morales finds Alfredo Morales. Amundsen back from Morales, taken over by East. A bit overzealous. Alfredo Morales. Ruiz. Chanel. It's a good transition into attack. Rajay coming up a bit short. Pressure of NYCFC unrelenting, taken on by Acevedo. Rolls back to Mason. Good turnover forced. Rolled right back to Madrigal. It's a busy start in the wide area from Malt Amundsen. Morales. NYCFC with the calm of almost playing in an exhibition despite the international connotation of what lies ahead. Chance to face either Colorado or Comunicaciones of Guatemala in the next round. In theory, this was a positive draw for NYCFC. They've done nothing to dispel that notion yet. Maxi Morales rolling back, finds Chanot. Gray will get a second bite of the apple. It's through Morales. To the feet of Collins. Amundsen. Good turn, Morales. Can link up with Maxi. Ronnie Dyla, upon arriving at the venue tonight, described the goal to get that opener here tonight. Continue to attack with some balance. What ultimately ends up being the final tune-up before the MLS regular season begins. After a 2-goal win in Costa Rica last week in the opening leg. Ball through East. And from Collins. Chanot had that covered as well. Does appear Javon East has provided a better spark at the outset of this game than anybody did for Santos de Guápiles in the opening leg in his absence. Magno crossfield. Gray toward Magno. Madrigal folding inside defensively. Down by Morales, rolls right onto Ruiz. That's what's most enticing about NYCFC this year. James Sands goes to Rangers. Well, Tajuri Shradi will actually call this venue home moving forward after being drafted by Charlotte in the expansion draft, then flipped to LAFC. Jesus Medina off to Russia. Goody Torarensen moving on as well. The majority of the pieces are still here from what made NYCFC so great a year ago. Magno. Acevedo couldn't take it away. 3 red shirts streak in unison. Solorzano won't test Sean Johnson. There's not going to be a ton of support. He's dragging defenders along, opening Solorzano up. Shock Rodriguez has something to clap for inside 15 minutes. Amundsen. Morales. Alfredo Morales. They found the width here. Madrigal stepping up to Amundsen. Return ball is strong. Ball across, cleared before Magno could arrive. It's been an overarchingly strong performance from NYCFC. Haven't left much in doubt just yet. Amundsen splitting time between the starting unit and the bench during the regular season last year. Bicycle back across, settled at the penalty spot, trying to turn on it. Draje wasn't able to do all that much with it, and ultimately this gets knocked out of play. Good chance that would have seen a review one way or the other. Instead, Castellanos showing off a clever touch. Quarter hour gone. Grabbed by Acevedo, rolled further ahead. Magno gave chase. Madrigal skips into midfield. And Draje rolls back. NYCFC leads 2-0. Good command of the game early on. even-keeled and well-dressed Ronnie Dyla. Win the Champions League, you wonder what the attire would be then. He did debut for NYCFC in this competition. A lot has changed since then. Down goes Andrade. Luis Hernandez, the tug. Put in play here for NYCFC on the set piece. Skies into the air, header lofted over by Morales. Good understanding between Morales and Magno after the fact. Have to think there is some measure of communication here. More room with which to wind up if you're Morales. Just didn't seem to get that right. Andrade starting the attack, rolled between the backs. Collins. Morales. Driven forward Ruiz. Simply claims. For the fans who did make the trip, not many better seats to watch than directly at midfield, and that's largely where they've ultimately been allocated. Well recovered by Santos, and Mason helped to carry away. They're seeking east. Collins pursues, slows, crossfield Mendez. Back now for East. East swings through, nothing there. East is claiming a penalty. VAR is always watching. The referee wags his finger back. Madrigal. Castellanos. Found Gray out there, only 19 years old, from the Bronx. Acevedo. Morales pushes forward. Magno. Sent through for Morales, came up short. Here's East. 2021 Golden Boot winning seasons for Tati Castellanos and for Javon East in the U.S. and in Costa Rica, respectively. East ultimately would go on to miss the Gold Cup due to a hamstring injury. Major loss for the Reggae boys then. Rubio. Another look at Mendez. That expert service in East, able to corral that well enough to put it on target. Castellanos gave chase, and this is sent right out to Acevedo. Pressure continues from New York City. NYCFC, part of that global powerhouse. The crown jewel, Manchester City. But since 2016, no team in MLS has managed more points. Now they've got the MLS Cup trophy to show for it. Expectations deservedly high. Morales. The return here, Andrade. Corner for NYCFC. Morales. Header steered down by Castellanos. Grabbed by Ruiz. He's a bit slow to get up. Ultimately, you got the feeling from Santos they just wanted to show more than anything that they belonged at this level in this second leg with a more complete, not an entirely intact roster. Been largely compact. They've tasked East spearheading the attack that oftentimes tonight has felt listless thus far. Well quelled by NYCFC. Morales. Castellanos couldn't drag that through. Referee thought about advantage. He's given the foul. After Mendez initially took over, Solórzano brought down. Solórzano back up and about. Returned to the club last year after a couple-year hiatus across a trio of Costa Rican clubs. It's 2-0 to NYCFC in Concacaf Champions League's round of 16. Morales. Acevedo will pull the strings. Trying to stretch out Santos right now. They've got 10 behind the ball. Turn Magno, Amundsen. Chanot. Whittling through traffic. It was Castellanos to keep that initially. Morales, that's a tough slide in. Boyne's going to draw some measure of conflict with the referee. Gets the ball, trailing leg. Clicks heels with Maxi Morales. Morales. This brought down in an enviable position, away from Magno. Amundsen puts it wide. Morales a chance to reserve or go down the line. He's found Gray. And meanwhile for Santos, Isaac Salas remains down. Player who just got into the international level, the 20-year-old in Concacaf League. Got the chance to start here after not featuring in the first leg. I'll watch Salas come in here. He was the secondary defender off the turn by Magno. And Salas struggling off the field. Half an hour gone, and it feels like Santos is in a bit of a trance. NYCFC passing through, around. You can see why this midfield's so highly celebrated. A half chance or two thus far for Santos de Guápiles to show for the opening half hour. A game in which they need at least 2 goals to have a chance to advance. Morales will take over again. Maxi Morales drives that forward, came off the head of Hernandez. Castellanos! Ruiz got enough to send it wide. That was a blistering effort from Castellanos. Ball sat up well for him. Sends a ball that knuckles in on Ruiz. Scored 2 in the opening leg. A corner to come for New York City. Morales delivers. Header down and in. It is Alfredo Morales from Maxi Morales. It's 1-0 to New York City. 3-0 on aggregate. And the assembled faithful, thousands of miles from home. Supporters groups loud and proud, and whatever numbers they could muster can celebrate this connection. Second effort at a header, no mistake this time. That's as clean as you can hit it. And Ronnie Dyla has what he had hoped for when he walked in the building, looking for that opening goal. Marks the first goal in an NYCFC uniform for Alfredo Morales. And the first time he's scored since he did it against Leverkusen in 2019 with Dusseldorf. Amundsen. As this unsettled Santos. Gray. Boyne sends it the other way. Castellanos was waiting at the back post. Maxi Morales, the assist on the previous goal from the opposite corner. Let's see if the message got across here between Chanot and the referee. Morales. Clever quaff comes over to Chanot! Maxime Chanot gives NYCFC a 2-goal lead on the day, 4-0 in the round of 16. Well taken for Chanot. That's his first goal since 2020. And his 6th for NYCFC. Player who's come to epitomize the club. And Castellanos Come on. Chanot answers again. This time scoring the goals. 2-0 to NYCFC. And if they weren't firmly in control by the level of their play thus far, they certainly are on the scoreline. And without doubt, NYCFC likely wish, despite the more comfortable overarching travel arrangements, although the bags there may already be packed for Santos de Guápiles, staying in LA this week ahead of their game against Galaxy on the weekend. Certainly looking forward to getting back home sooner rather than later. Citi Field and their traditional home Yankee Stadium denied by Concacaf for this competition, according to the club. Ultimately felt this was a better fit than Hartford's Rentschler Field, is home to the Connecticut Huskies football program. This ultimately is the 7th different stadium to host an NYCFC match since their inaugural season in 2015. Yankee Stadium, of course, being the primary home, but Red Bull Arena, Citi Field, Belson Stadium, home to St. John's, Jack Coffey Field, home to the mighty Fordham Rams. Ball drifting forward, header steered across. If Santos wanted to win this in regulation, they needed 3 road goals anyways. In theory, that has not changed, but the potential for penalties certainly has. Santos now will need 4 to overcome the aggregate, but they would have away goals on their side, as slim a possibility as that seems. But NYCFC continues to boss the game here in LA. Karams over Madrigal. The throw for New York City. Physical confrontation. Mendez started it. Mason continued it. Mendez now. Gray tried to recover that instead. Hernandez swings the cross well over East. Maybe still alive here for Santos de Guápiles. Solorzano. Mendez. Acevedo got tossed. Luis Hernandez got under East and recovered by New York City. For Santos, if the rules were a little bit different in terms of qualification 5 years ago, perhaps this would have been their second incursion to Champions League. They were finalists in Concacaf League in 2017, but back then only one position in Champions League came from there. Chance here for NYCFC to send this across. Settled, Magno, denied. Ruiz stands his ground after Andrade put it right on the penalty spot. Acevedo, a short-lived tussle, and Santos de Guápiles try to play quickly. Rodriguez. Diagonal didn't find East. Magno. Amundsen stepping a hair late, but maintained by New York City. Castellanos. Castellanos. Return once more from Magno. Castellanos falling to ground. Play continues through East, who's looking for a free kick. This back pass siphoned off. Castellanos running right into Ruiz. Look at the previous effort. That was saved away from the line by Rubio. Mexican defender whose visa clears in the US, but not in Costa Rica. Stepping into the lineup for Santos de Guápiles. As we approach the final 100 seconds in what's been a fast-moving first half. One brief injury, couple of NYCFC goals. Lobbed forward, and there's Johnson aggressively stepping off his line. And Magno spins. One too many clips at the back of Magno. Finally, Mendez draws the whistle. Chanel. Andrade. Alfredo Morales scored in the 32nd, Chanel in the 36th. Return here, Amundsen rolls forward, Andrade. Morales sweeps through, serves the cross. Speared out for a New York City corner. In theory, it wasn't too difficult to guess who would score in the first leg. The second leg has been a bit more unique. Castellanos 2 goals in the tie, now Morales and Chanel. One added minute, Maxi Morales. The counter is broken up, Acevedo. And New York City, they well feel they've done enough in this first half. Chanel. And there is the halftime whistle. The fans for NYCFC who arrived in Los Angeles to give New York City a homecoming of sorts at Banc of California Stadium have gotten precisely what they hoped to see. Their side looks simply giant against Santos de Guápiles. Morales and Chanel score in the first half. Combine that with Tati Castellanos' 2 goals in the first leg. It is 4-0 on aggregate in favor of New York City. We're on the cusp of advancing to the quarterfinal in Scotiabank Concacaf Champions League. At halftime, NYCFC 2, Santos de Guápiles 0.
Because football inspires kids and transforms futures. Follow Scotia Football Club on Facebook to learn more of our football initiatives.
Since 1997, we have imagined the exceptional. From our very first flight to opening the world's best airport, Hamad International Airport, to delivering unforgettable experiences on board. You're the reason we go above and beyond. The reason we've become the world's best airline 6 times. All this in just 25 years. Imagine what the next 25 will bring. Qatar Airways, 25 years of excellence.
Qatar Airways is the official airline partner of the 2022 Scotiabank Concacaf Champions League. Guarantee your spot at the FIFA World Cup. Qatar 2022 with our incredible travel packages. Look now at QatarAirways.com/FIFA 2022. Keep up with the interaction on Concacaf's social media channels. Follow at the Champions on Twitter and on Facebook page at Concacaf Champions. Fair play and mutual respect are fundamental to football. Discriminatory behavior is not permitted. We ask you to uphold principles of fair play, take part in football in the spirit of unity, respect, and equality. What is this?
Onto the field, NYCFC and Santos de Guápiles for the second leg in Scotiabank Concacaf Champions League in the round of 16. NYCFC 2 goals up, and they stride confidently against a reinforced Santos side from Costa Rica. Game being played in Los Angeles and the City of Stars. Here come the stars of NYCFC. Ball spins over the bar. Maxi Morales helping to create. Wasn't there for Tyus Magno. Morales was the key straw that stirred the drink on all set pieces, par for the course. This header over the bar from Alfredo Morales keep that tagged in your mind. You will be seeing something similar moments later. Skip ahead to the 32nd minute. Morales this time makes good. They talked about his aerial threat when he arrived. His first goal for NYCFC. Rises over the top, hammers it home. 3-0 on aggregate, 1-0 in the second leg over Santos de Guápiles. And Morales finds Morales after Castellanos score of a brace in the opening leg. Creativity from Tati Castellanos 4 minutes later ultimately finds number 4. Maxime Chanot hadn't scored in a couple of years' time. Wouldn't be able to tell it by the way he finished this. Strides in confidently, drives it home, 4-0 NYCFC. Couple goals on the road, now a couple goals at home. And Castellanos, with the help of a deflection, with a remarkable assist of sorts. Chanot giving NYCFC their 4th in the tie. Statistics don't always tell the full story of the game. These statistics, however, very much do. Handful of fouls in midfield, but nothing all that egregious. Shots 11-1, NYCFC 4 shots, including a blistering effort by Tati Castellanos, a half chance or 2 for Santos de Guápiles in the first half. 4-0 on aggregate in the second leg. NYCFC 2, Santos de Guápiles 0. Banc of California Stadium in Los Angeles, playing host to Concacaf Champions League for NYCFC, their first appearance since 2020, when they also were drawn against a Costa Rican team in the first round. It took care of business against San Carlos, then fell to Tigres in the quarterfinals. And now here tonight, off and running, 4-0 on aggregate, now the score. One change here. Alex Collins comes off after an impressive first half, so change at center back ahead of the game on Sunday, the MLS regular season opener.
Substitution for NYCFC. In the game, number 2, Novich. Now the game, number 6, Alexander Kickoff.
So Vuk Latinovic will step in. He only played 93 minutes a year ago and played in 2 of the 15 games he was available off the bench, started once. So that's the lone change at halftime. You're allowed 5 subs and 3 windows plus the halftime break. Ruiz for Santos de Guápiles. Bouncing up to Andrade. Magno maintains. Maxi Morales drops that down. Arboin the other way. So NYCFC appears poised to win both their ties in Champions League against Costa Rican teams in their first 2 forays into the competition, 2 years apart. San Carlos and now Santos de Guápiles. 4-goal advantage entering this second half. Hernandez goes to ground. Really highly celebrated player. Santos de Guápiles defender Luis Hernandez. His dad was a supporter at Herediano, one of the bigger clubs in Costa Rica. Went from there ultimately to Saprissa, spent 5 years there. Capped with the Ticos once in that time. Ultimately, Jacques Rodriguez is manager now at Santos, saying he felt like the mistakes he made with Saprissa were perhaps overmodulated. Felt like he wasn't treated the right way. Ultimately comes to Santos. Big part of what they're planning to do in the domestic league. Mendez. A domestic league in which Santos de Guápiles has a lot of work to do. Only 5 games in, but sitting in 12th. We'll need to find another gear once this competition likely concludes for them here tonight. They're hoping by mid to late March, according to reports in Costa Rica, that they get those 3 foreign-born players cleared to play and through their visa issues in their domestic league. Boyne's involved again. Ball rolling over the far touchline. Gray. Made himself available a second time, and now Maxi Morales. Amundsen from the wide area, punched away Ruiz. Acevedo. Gray came inside, gave room to Andrade. Four players who started for Santos in the first leg are available in the second off the bench. Plenty of firepower available to NYCFC off theirs as well. Ronnie Dyla suggested that Keaton Park's not quite 90-minute available yet. He is on the bench this afternoon. Running into space, Thiago Andrade. Acevedo. Morales strokes it forward, header back, rolls out to Gray. Five minutes of largely sustained possession from New York City to begin this second half. It's given away, however. East sent that back, and Acevedo collects. And Acevedo fouled. Chanel overtaken. Morales. Magno didn't get there. Chanel and Alfredo Morales have scored for New York City. 2-0 in this second leg, 4-0 in totality. They entered the second leg with the best performance in the first in this Champions League competition. Maybe there's something here for Santos de Guápiles, who's well cut off and now strikes the post from a long way out. Solorzano carried that all the way forward. And the trailing Mason unleashes. Rodriguez willing to roll that back, and for Santos seeking their first goal in Concacaf Champions League, tantalizingly close. That potential to be one of the better goals we've seen in the round of 16 so far. Well, NYCFC is going to have to find their focus here. That's a couple lapses in concentration in the last 3 minutes. Taken on by Hernandez. Rolled back by Rubio. Kevin Ruiz. Rubio now. A little bit of time in Colorado Springs playing in the U.S. Everardo Rubio. prior to that with Tacoma in 2019. Madrigal. Caromed off of Morales. Magno. Castellanos. Changes on the horizon for New York City. Eber and Parks.
Ya.
Santos de Guápiles considering their own changes as we approach 10 minutes gone in the second half. Well left off by Morales. Magno left off Morales again. Morales! Combination between Morales, Castellanos, Pius Magno. It's been sparks in this game. And I'm not sure there's a back heel pass Castellanos hasn't at least thought about making in this game. All the way ahead, and Andrade. Santos trying to play through the pressure.
Don't foul, Simon!
They were shouting to Gray not to foul, and he didn't really do much there. Here's the three changes ahead for NYCFC. Andrade put it wide, has the support, gets the return, swung that through for Morales. And NYCFC make a trio of changes shy of the hour mark.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention please. Substitution for NYCFC, 57th minute. In the game, 55, Keith Parks.
Parks will come on for Morales.
In the game, number 10, Maximiliano Morales.
Morales the assist
Also
on the set piece.
Number 9, Peter Rajo. And in the game, number 7, Alfred Morales.
Eber checking in.
And also in the game, number 21, Andres Jason.
And Andres Jason, a 19-year-old from Connecticut. And Gray comes out. His number was already on the card before the foul that may have raised an eyebrow or two. So for NYCFC, they've used 4 subs. We'll try and see out the last half hour here. Sean Johnson, that's simple. And here's Jason. Magno seeking Eber. Eber had such a magical run of goal scoring. 22 games, 15 goals, injured 2019, late in the season, injured in 2020. Can he find his best form again? Jason. Eber, Jason. Latinovich take over again. As far as center back depth goes, they bring in Thiago Martins, who debuted for the club in the first leg. He's out of the 18 here today. Takes Latinovich one step down in the hierarchy, one would imagine. Roll back, Magno for Eber. We've gone an hour. For NYCFC, there is a mystique about this season, trying to go back-to-back. The MLS Cup hasn't happened since 2012. They attained the first trophy for a New York City professional team in close to a decade's time. A city so defined by its many championships. Can they be the first to win Champions League from MLS, from the United States? The team that plays in this venue is the most recent to get to the final, LAFC. The stars may well align for it. Ruiz running out of time and space. Cedes it right back to New York City. Two changes coming for Santos de Guápiles. Douglas Lopez will come in. He'll come on for Rodriguez. Arquero comes on as well. Both started the first leg.
Ladies and gentlemen, attention please. Substitution for Santos, 63rd minute. In the game, number 8.
Solorzano coming off as well. It's quite the mountain that Santos de Guápiles were hoping to climb here this afternoon.
And in the game, number 22, Solorzano.
For Rodriguez, perhaps ironically, playing against NYCFC in Champions League, he helped San Carlos qualify for the competition then moved on to Santos de Guápiles before they actually met NYCFC in that tournament. Got the chance here this time around. The results more or less the same. Fairly dominant stuff from NYCFC against some of the more new money clubs of Costa Rica, whose success has been a bit more recent. Recovered by Magno, the Brazilian. Jason Castellanos started to run that down. Instead, Emerson, and now Parks. Chanel. Jason. Jason went down. He's in the penalty area. Referee waving his hand the other direction. Recovered by Urson Mendez, who's having a career year in Costa Rica. Now, you mentioned the more recently successful clubs in Costa Rica. You immediately think Alajuelense, you think Saprissa, Herediano many years. If you look at the top of the table, Alajuelense is there, second. Guadalupe, who pasted Santos de Guápiles last time out, 4-1, sit in first. Then Saprissa and Santos de Guápiles, 11th and 12th. Bottom two in the table, and those were the two sides that ultimately represented Costa Rica in Champions League this year. Families always rising and falling in Costa Rica, it turns out. Seeking east. Salas putting in the effort, kept it through Mendez. Service over east, Barquero. Furiously trying to find some magic in that marker. 4 goals it would take for Santos de Guápiles to turn this. The more if you're Santos, you look ahead, and it will be 2 home matches against mid-tier teams in the domestic league to maybe get back on track. That ball rises up, catches Barquero, and immediately draws the athletic training staff onto the field. Clearance here. Nothing you can do. Good to see him up and about. One of the more tenured players from Limon in Costa Rica. Now you look ahead in this competition. The quarterfinals will kick off on March the 8th. Span that first full midweek for the first leg. Following week, the return. Semifinals will come in April. The final Back to a two-legged format this year. First leg the final week of April. Second leg the following week in May. Back to a more typical Champions League schedule this year. Eber pushing through, swung across beyond Magno. Looks like the right whistle arrived. Andrade a bit too far out in front. You know, if you're looking for CONCACAF Champions League chaos, this is probably the side of the bracket to keep in mind, all things considered. You've got Leon, who for the first time in 4 tries have advanced in a knockout tie in Champions League. Seattle and Motagua played to a 0-0 draw in the opening leg. They play tomorrow. Seattle obviously still very much the favorite there. That could set up intriguing Seattle and Leon quarterfinal. NYCFC, one of the favorites from MLS, appear well in position now to move on. And then you've got Comunicaciones and Colorado playing later tonight. Good slide for Santos. Corella Espino scoring 88th minute game winner, a frozen rope. Ball ahead, Eber over the bar.
Go tell it, you get it. Tight, tight.
Throw for Santos here with 20 minutes to go. Comunicaciones side, intriguing to say the least. Andres Lizcano, tremendous in CONCACAF League last year. Jose Manuel Contreras has drawn a lot of praise from the Colorado coaching staff in the press. Juan Luis Anangano, known from his time in Mexico, but also in MLS with Chicago. Kevin Lopez, who's played such a major role in CONCACAF League year after year, primarily with Motagua making the move. Here's the change for Santos. Alvin Bennett enters, center back from Costa Rica. Replaces Mason. Had a busy 70 minutes, ultimately not impactful to the scoreline. Andrade puts it out. Eber rotating. So he'll swing over to Mendez. And then you've got Colorado, who had such a tremendous season last year in MLS. An early exit in the playoffs. Much will be made about the number of DPs on their roster, but ultimately some greater than the parts down in Colorado. First things first, they have to handle Comunicaciones. If they concede an early road goal, it could be a long night in frigid temperatures. Goal for Comunicaciones may end up looming large tonight. Side that won CONCACAF League a year ago. Amundsen being told that that touch line is fine and walk off that way. Right in front of the supporters, of course. Chris Gloucester comes in. 21-year-old from Montclair in New Jersey. Chanot. Simple enough. There's Latinovic on the ball, third-round pick by NYCFC last year. Justin Hack's available, homegrown player. Gloucester coming in. Tavon Gray giving a significant shift. Seeing some of the talent that's been cultivated more so than bought by NYCFC, getting time here in Champions League. Still 16 minutes left here. NYCFC in prime position, not only here in the round of 16, they're 4-0 up on aggregate, but most certainly going into the quarterfinal, they'll feel quite confident no matter who they draw, one would imagine. Deflection, Karam's back to Ruiz. Jason down and quickly restarts. East is taken over. Lopez. Salas comes over now to Hernandez. Arquero. Tyus Magno. 3 goals in 18 games, largely came off the bench last year. Played just a hair over 500 minutes all considered. Intriguing to see him continue to take the next step for New York City. Still so young. Like Jason, just 19. Jason pressing now. Back to Ruiz. Castellanos may go the distance here in this second competitive match of the year. Lopez down the line. See, the problem is there were 2 balls on the field. All right, Hernandez will do the honors. As far as MLS watch goes, how many teams can reach this quarterfinal? How many teams can potentially make the run toward the final? New England, who won the Supporters' Shield last year, advanced past Cavalier of Haiti who never kicked a ball in this tournament. Visa issues initially postponing their game in New England, where they planned on playing both legs. Ultimately, it canceled the tie outright. So New England will see either Pumas Unam of Mexico or Saprissa of Costa Rica. That was probably the best match of the round of 16 so far. That finished 2-2. Santos Laguna 1-0 up over Montreal. That match being played in minutes up at the Big O, the Olympic Stadium in Quebec. And then Seattle, scoreless draw away to Motagua. Got a result there. Colorado fell behind Comunicaciones in this quarter of the bracket. And don't forget, the results you may not think make all that big a difference as long as you get through, but the deeper you get in the tournament, the results in previous rounds, in terms of points acquired, will decide who hosts that second leg. Driving in, Andrade, and there's the finish. Magno, that's the third for NYCFC today. 5-0 up in totality. Certainly to the quarterfinal in Champions League. A lot of work put in for Magno finally to get the finishing touch. Good 1v1 toward the end line. And Thiago Andrade getting that across, and Tyus Magno sliding in to convert for New York City.
Scored by 43, Tyus Magno, in the 80th minute.
Santos still hoping they can get their hands on their first goal scored in Champions League here. Avoid a second straight NYCFC clean sheet. Oh, good poke out there by Eber. Now Magno trying to play creator. If you're NYCFC, could this week have gone any better? Ball driven from long range. Castellanos seeking his third in the round of 16. He's been aggressive throughout. If you're NYCFC, obviously disappointed you couldn't play in front of home fans. You do get to finish out in good weather in LA after handling Santos on the road. You're able to get here, don't need to travel ahead of the game against the Galaxy on Sunday. Two fairly convincing wins. Jason. All the while, you can look forward to Champions League in a couple weeks' time in the quarterfinal. One would think NYCFC will have a very close eye on the match that begins shortly after this is set to conclude up in Colorado. Corner for New York City. Attempt to hold that down. Mendez couldn't win it for Santos. Keaton Parks. Andrade stepping through. He wanted the return. 1v3. And Castellanos goes to ground, and a card comes out of the back pocket. A red card shown. Bad to worse for Santos de Guápiles. Alvin Bennett came in as a substitute after starting in the first leg, sent off in the 84th minute. Llanos, he leans in hard with that shoulder, and then there with his right cleat into the leg of Castellanos. No question. And the referee did not hesitate. All the while now, NYCFC has a chance for an exclamation point. Marquero gets the unfortunate job of laying on the ground here. Make no mistake, Castellanos already knows what he wants. He hit the post. The goal that's eluded him today. Acevedo hits the deck. This is a gorgeous hit by Tati Castellanos. Ruiz fully outstretched, just trying to get a fingertip to it. Stone-faced, resolute response from the manager. 5 minutes to go, and NYCFC trying to emerge unscathed from here. They're up 5-0 in the aggregate. The quarterfinal seemingly assured. Magno. Return came up short. Jason now reaches the end line, swings the cross. Header steered at Ruiz. A determined Castellanos down the stretch. Turned over. And cracked it goal, and Magno grabs another one. It has been a dream opening to Champions League for NYCFC. At no point have they felt out of complete control. Carlos Magno, he looked at Castellanos. Ultimately, it was his to attain. Rubio out in front of it. And perhaps that touches off Rubio's knee. Either way, 4-0, 6-0 on aggregate. NYCFC has run away with it. Jeremy Gomez and Sebastian Castro are the final two substitutes for Santos de Guápiles, playing with 10. A little extra in that. Gloucester gets knocked down. Gloucester came out of the Red Bull Academy, went over to Hanover at 17 years old. At time at PSV, and then into NYCFC a year ago. Chipped outside. Carlos Magno opening his account here today after one of the linchpin goals of that remarkable run, the MLS Cup playoffs a year ago, the semifinal against Philadelphia. Eber, this ball chipped, hits off the crossbar. Eber was chasing back, and this gets cleared away. Eber's got quite the grin. Traje continues to create so much danger. And the clearance that comes off the crossbar all went awry for Pablo Arboin. Santos came that close to scoring their first Champions League goal. Alas. Header down, Parks tried to get a piece. Time is on New York City's side now, into the 90th minute. They lead by 6 on aggregate. They will wait to see who they get in the next round of the competition, the quarterfinal. We'll wait to see where that home leg is ultimately played. Jason. They'll see either Comunicaciones, who have played so well in Guatemala. They get the win. The opening leg against Colorado. Now they have to travel away to the Rapids here tonight. Can they seal what seemingly is the annual upset in the round of 16? Headed away as it approached Eber. But certainly no team has looked more complete. The outside Champions League. Whoa, Castellanos went up for it. Jumped on the bike. Yellow card comes out.
Ladies and gentlemen, attention please. Yellow card has been issued.
Traje putting that up. Castellanos appeared to be in an offside position. Rubio takes the edge of Castellanos' cleat up high. Not sure that there needs to be all that much more time paid to this game. Referee signals for play to start again. And now he blows for full time. Never in doubt, NYCFC, the most dominant side in the round of 16 so far. Magno scores twice. Morales and Chanot also score after the 2 goals by Tati Castellanos in the first leg. The Citizens are moving on. New York City 6, Santos de Guápiles 0 in the round of 16 on aggregate, on to the quarterfinal for their second consecutive Champions League appearance. And the fans holding up Bolt kits and champion scarves and proud supporters groups flags. NYCFC get the job done thousands of miles away in Los Angeles. Here are the highlights in the second leg of the round of 16 in Scotiabank Concacaf Champions League. You would not blame NYCFC if they had an air of confidence entering this second leg, but they felt they needed a professional performance. They wanted the win. Morales to Morales opening the scoring back in the 32nd minute. In the 36th, Castellanos, such a clever idea, and well, he gets the benefit of the deflection that finds Chanot, who makes no mistake. 2-0, 4-0 on aggregate for Chanot and NYCFC. Into the second half of play, and a chance or two for Santos de Guápiles. You could argue that over the length of the 2 matches, they didn't create 4 top-tier scoring opportunities in total, but that was their best. An absolute missile from distance, teed up by Danielson Mason. Cranks off the post, and then NYCFC would open the floodgates. Such a dominant run in the second half from Thiago Andrade. Creates here. Sliding effort in from Talles Magno. This would be the only real ugly part of this match. Castellanos, the boot coming down onto his outer thigh. Ultimately sees Alvin Bennett sent off. And down to 10 men. Castellanos cracks the left-hand post on the ensuing set piece. The goals will certainly come for him, chance after chance. And then NYCFC adds their finale. It's one more off the pressure. And driven home by Magno. A brace in the second leg joins Castellanos among the tops on the leaderboard. Most goals in the competition. The near own goal at the end would have been academic, but spared the indignity off the crossbar. 4-0 on the day, 6-0 on aggregate. NYCFC through to the quarterfinal. So NYCFC will stay in Los Angeles, take on the Galaxy. For Santos de Guápiles, they return to domestic league play and hope they can get out of the basement with a couple home matches coming up. For our entire team at home and abroad, Mike Watt saying thanks for watching. NYCFC advanced to the quarterfinals, 6-0 on aggregate, 4-0 in the second leg against Santos de Guápiles. Have a good night, everybody.